Back in 2018, NASA was super excited to announce that they were going to have a woman of color at the International Space Station. And a lesbian at that. That's right, a lesbian woman of color at the International Space Station. They were so proud. But then there were some problems. You didn't really hear about it much in the American media. Occasionally, she would do these little, link ups with schools, and she was honored by all these Hispanic chamber of this and that for being the Hispanic woman of color in space, and they'd showcase her. She's doing her spacewalk. Look at her; she's so strong and powerful and whatever. But then there were some problems on the space station. She had to come home early. But, that was mostly swept under the rug. So I'm going to read this screen cap, and then we're going to go through and see how real it is. This is the, you guys might have seen this screen cap here. Like I said, I brought the receipts. All right. Now, there's a lot of typos in this, and I'm going to try to read it about as well as I read a lot of the super chats that come in. But this is how it goes here. This is pretty true. Just compound of nonstop woman moments and sabotage. She was paranoid about her ex-girlfriend at home. She wanted more attention and fame. She didn't like doing any of her work and demanded being excused. Lots of little things trying to make life hard. Let me put her back on the screen just so you can look at her smiling mug while I talk about her. Lots of little things trying to make life hard and trying to be forced to go home a year early. She decided space was too much within a week or so. This culminated in the bathroom, and how NASA and the toilets are sexist because they aren't comfortable, and there's boys always around. NASA said the toilet was designed with ladies in mind, and it's uncomfortable for boys too. She was enraged and demanded a toilet be designed and sent up for women and women only. NASA stated this would take up to a year and hundreds of millions of dollars, but they would start. She didn't like that and demanded to be sent home immediately. I'm not comfortable. I don't want to be here anymore. NASA responded by easing her duties to basically nothing and letting her know that there's a taxi scheduled in 9 months. And they have very few woman power missions planned for her to make her famous. Even the first ever woman outside repair with a man doing nothing. This was not enough. She wanted a rocket home now. When NASA said that it's not just in the logistics, she flipped. She then refused to bathe. She wouldn't use the restroom properly, jamming it and letting shit and piss spray all over the place. She refused to pick up or follow cleanliness protocols, damaging equipment and causing smells. This is where it gets fucked. Ever since its creation, the ISS has been the cleanest, freshest smelling environment ever. Strictly maintained as such. For one very important reason. If you're ever going to be in a closed place floating through space over 100 years, you cannot replace your atmosphere with a fresh one, ever. The smell is forever. The ISS is a pleasant environment with a pleasant smell, until now. She continues being a piece of shit, annoying everybody, making messes, assaulting people, destroying their research, and altering the experiments of others while they're away, like poisoning space plants randomly. She wanted to be fired from space. Then her big day came. The first ever female-only outside repair. She majorly failed She majorly failed. Cost hundreds of millions of dollars. With a male lead, had to, or this is where the typos are a mess. A male midway through had to take over. In one, she dropped all of her tools, into the void. Now this one, there's actually a video of. So here's video of her trying to do the repair and dropping all of her tools into space. So she's like, da-da-da. Just gonna put this over here. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Well, those are gone. Forever. There it goes. Floating off. So yeah, there's now like a bag of tools. Just, there it is. Floating off into space. All right. The next one, she borrowed all the tools of the second in command because the captain refused to let her touch his. Then she proceeded to drop all of his tools into the void, leaving just almost 2 sets left. Now she's out in space, trying to repair a loose bolt near the hydraulics with no man doing it or telling her what to do. Except, of course, the team of men giving her millisecond by millisecond instructions in her earpiece. But the budget already reached $250 million. 3 hours of look cool outside, tighten a bolt on live TV, and re-enter turned into 6 hours of nervous giggling and panicking, almost throwing herself into space, losing most of her tools and the second box. And the girl finally finding the bolt, panic set in, and she then completely soaked herself. In other words, she pissed her suit, and then ended up. So there's this big arm they were trying to fix, and the way that the arm on the ISS is set up, if you have it in the wrong configuration, because there's you got radiation from the sun and just, everything blasting the ISS, and it's got shielding obviously, but if it's got reflective surfaces on the arm and you angle the arm in such a way that the radiation is reflecting off the arm in a constant, like almost like if you've ever seen kids burning ants with a magnifying glass, it's like that. So she fucked up fixing the arm, and so the arm, this like robot arm, just started like radiating the ISS. They immediately turn and rush in and skip all decontamination protocols. On the news feeds, you can see them skip all the locks and just throw the filthy radioactive space gear on the ground. Now, I was trying to find the footage of that one. I'll be honest, I could not find footage of that. But honestly, I would not be surprised if it existed. They then say, mission accomplished. The captain's upset. Mission control's upset. But the whole world celebrates for weeks. The next day, the captain checks the repair to see the whole external arm is FUBAR. And Canada is offered $250 million and hours to make a new one. Now, I found articles about that magically around this same time frame, that the arm on the ISS is just Canada needs to make a new one, and so Canada gets to work on making a new one. This is a major fucking deal. NASA now has to get a team together to study for 6 to 12 months to see if it's even worth it. In less than a month, things are clear. Everything is well beyond fucked. Everything inside and out is coated with the stinkiest, slimiest oils, and everyone is finally getting pissed at her after nearing a year of this. But it's worse than you can ever imagine. She thinks she's won, saying she's beaten them. She'll go home soon. Then NASA reminds her that the taxi is still 6 months away. She loses her shit and destroys equipment, makes messes and destroys the toilet 2 times in a few days. Mission Control assures her that the new toilet is on the way. I don't want a new fucking toilet. I want to go home. Later that day, less than a month after the spacewalk, the American toilet is destroyed beyond repair. and no hope for 6 months. Though the Russians didn't want her psycho ass in their side of the station, they let the American men use their toilet for a few days. But then she tried to destroy the Russians' toilet. So the Americans were forced to only wear diapers. I found an article backing this up. So again, let's see here. Which one is it? There we go. Again, none of this is in the American papers. This is all in, like, I think this one's India. Yeah, this one's India. They're all talking about how, oh yeah, just mysteriously, the toilet broke. Let me see if I can find this. I thought I had it here. As per ISS Commander Luca Permatano, the toilet in the U.S. module has been constantly signaling that it is broken, while the toilet on the Russian side is filled to its maximum. In a conversation with the ground personnel aired by NASA on Tuesday, the in-space team of astronauts said they were trying to fix the toilet on the U.S. side. Yeah, that was the cover story. The real story was that she literally, this is the thing. There's a reason there's no women hermits. Women can't handle isolation. They can't. They just cannot do isolation. And which is funny because they're talking about, well, when we do the Mars mission, we should make it all women. Okay, if you never want to go to Mars, that's a great idea. There's a reason why all the great explorers have always been men. Always. Look, and it's not like these men would, they would go to the forest with nothing. There wasn't some patriarchy stopping women from doing that. There was no patriarchy stopping women for all of time from going into the wilderness by themselves and discovering and mapping shit out. And then coming back and being like, look what I found. No one was stopping that. Nobody. But there's a reason why it's only been men. Men think that shit's cool. I would think it was cool floating around in a tin can in space. Like, it'd get old after a while. It'd give me internet access and like phone calls and ham radio or whatever. Like, I'd have a good time. Like I said, it'd probably be boring a lot. But I'd be in fucking space. How boring can it be? So anyway, I will continue. So basically they're all wearing diapers because she's destroyed the toilets, trying to create like a situation that's so bad that they have to send up a rescue mission. But it's so infeasible for, it's not like, driving down the street to go pick you up. It's really expensive and takes a lot of time to do these things. Right? So NASA's like, yeah, well, you're just going to have to wear diapers. Captain, please get this psycho bitch out of here immediately. Woman, please get me out of here now. The logistics wouldn't fit such a timeline unless something catastrophic happens. There's been a major foobar of the external arm, permanently irradiating, or radiating is what I think they meant, the ISS to deadly degrees inside and out. Destruction of toiletry, making the place no longer safe, sterile, or inhabitable. And now a drop in over all the air. This can, let's see, the word of this weird. Immediately, then there was a drop in the air pressure picked up on the sensors. You know what happened? And again, this is going to sound fucking nuts. A lot of this I had to actually find on Russian news sites. Let me save this photo here. Because they actually wanted to press charges against her for this bullshit. But it's like, whose jurisdiction? You're in space. Like, there's not like, call the space cops. All right, let me pull this up. So they detect the air pressure going down. So they search the ship, and someone drilled a hole. Someone drilled a hole in the side of the ISS. That someone was that crazy bitch. The crazy bitch wanting to go home drilled a hole in the. That's like drilling the hole in the side of your submarine because you want to go home. Which, by the way, I recently just found out they don't allow women on submarines, and maybe this is why. Mission Control finally has... Oh, wait, no, there's actually more stuff. Oh, yeah, she stole the... I guess she stole a bunch of tools, too, and hid them. So, Mission Control finally has a new priority. Remove the woman from the ISS ASAP, or there will be no ISS left. So they did a little rescheduling and thought, why send up a woman toilet to space when you can just take the woman out of space? So instead of a heroic, we sent a woman toilet to the ISS to cure space poop, here's 3 months of them trying it out. Excuse me. They sent an emergency taxi to remove the woman early and sneak on a normal toilet. They later made a big deal out of it and said they sent a woman toilet after she was gone. Mission Control finally has the new priority. But it's worse than you could ever imagine. Around the time she would begin to celebrate NASA sending the first new and improved toilet into space, some devastating information started coming to light. It turns out the original set of people hired to assess the damages caused the entire space program were still releasing their findings and searching for solutions. And that's when they found that, let me see if I have the news report for that one. So one thing that you'll notice if you look at this photo of the drill holes, NASA was trying to say, oh, it was obviously, because NASA doesn't want to be like, well, we sent the first woman of color into space and she literally drilled a hole in the side of the space station. So they're like, oh, it was shoddy Russian manufacturing, and they're just trying to cover their ass. And that's the hole. And Russia's like, no, you can clearly see where they tried to start the hole a bunch of times, but because you're in zero gravity, and if you're a woman trying to drill a hole through metal in zero gravity, you're not going to get it the first time. Like you're going to be like pushed back by the drill until you finally get it in there. And so this is not a manufacturing error. And if it was, it wouldn't have passed the test. Like it wouldn't. This is not like a soft spot that failed. It's not like, this is our first day in space. We've been up here for a while. It only failed when this crazy fucking bitch came up here. So Russia wanted to press charges. They had their cosmonauts because this is a big deal, You're sending people up there, and then there's a hole in the wall? like that's a big deal. Everyone could have died. And so they do this big investigation. Like, well, what the fuck happened? Someone clearly drilled a hole. Like, who fucking did this? So they had their astronauts take a lie detector test. They took a polygraph. And their conclusion was that crazy fucking American bitch did it. And they passed the polygraph test. And they told NASA, you need to have your astronauts take a polygraph and explain, what the fuck this is from, because this is the data we got. And NASA was like, you're racist. Because it's more important to have girls in space. It's more important to have girls in space. So here is here's the article there. The Russian Space Corporation, Roscosmos, which is like their NASA, said it was completed an investigation into a hole found in the Soyuz spacecraft when the vehicle was docked to the International Space Station in 2018. Moreover, Roscosmos told the Russian publication RIA Novosti that it has sent the results of the investigation to law enforcement officials. All results of the investigation regarding the hole in the habitation module of the Soyuz MS-09 spacecraft were transmitted to law enforcement officials, Roscosmos said. No further details were provided. In Russia, the results of such an investigation are sent to law enforcement to allow officials to declare whether or not to initiate a criminal case, which would be akin to issuing an indictment. Russia, and this, by the way, this is before the whole Russia-Ukraine stuff. This was in 2018, 2019. I guess the investigation was 2019, 2020. So this is before the Ukraine stuff. So who did it? Since then, the focus has been on what or who may have caused the hole. A micrometeoroid strike was soon ruled out. Some Russian media reported that the hole had been caused by manufacturing or testing defect, and this seems to be the most plausible theory until the Russian government. Let's see here. However, the Russian government. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, this one's trying to say it's baseless rumors, too. However, the Russian government started baseless rumors that perhaps a disgruntled NASA astronaut had drilled the hole. All right, well, we're going to get to the actual report, though, because the report actually says exactly that. All right, blah, blah, blah. NASA again strongly asserted these attacks on a non-chancellor. She's got a hyphenated last name. As I said on Gab, if you have a hyphenated last name, that's basically proof that your mom's a cunt and your dad's a pussy. It's official documentation that your mom's a cunt and your dad's a pussy. If you have a hyphenated last name, just saying. Or if your mom has a hyphenated last name, same thing. These attacks are false and lack credibility, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson told ARS. I fully support Serena and stand behind all of our astronauts. So there we go. So you have all these people like the Jew that wrote this article saying the reality is these attacks are false. They just hate fucking women. All right, then there's another article here. It took 2 years to complete the inquiry. The Russian news agency cites a source who claims the hole was drilled in weightlessness by a person not acquainted with the spaceship's design. Statements like that sparked the drama surrounding the situation. The Russian spaceflight mission Soyuz MS-09 had launched in June of 2018 with a Russian commander and American flight engineer, Serena M., a non-chancellor of NASA, on board. The original intent of the mission was to dock at the International Space Station and do orbit research there, returning to Earth by the end of the year. The situation began on the night of August 29th, a few months into the mission. A drop in air pressure was noticed by people on the ground and discovery of a 2-millimeter hole was made. The crew, which includes a European Space Agency astronaut, were able to repair the damage with an epoxy solution and continue the rest of the mission as planned. The issue over what caused the hole is contested between the American and Russian media. Serena, a non-chancellor, finds herself in the center of the accusation of sabotage. Foreign outlets cite that either the relationship gone bad or a blood clot inserted in his brain that caused the psychological distress. Now, here's the other thing. There's another article talking, again, NASA is kind of admitting that she went a little bit nuts because the Daily Mail article, like here it is. There's a Daily Mail article where they say, let's see here. Russia threatens criminal charges against married NASA astronaut 45 over claims she drilled a hole in their spacecraft while it was docked in the ISS because she'd broken up with a crew member and wanted to go home. Oh. All right, so here's the... let me see where there's the one where it says that... There's a quote from one of the NASA guys basically saying that she had a mental health crisis or something, like some bullshit name for freaking out. Here we go. NASA. Here we go. NASA responded by saying it does not comment on medical matters, but disputed the claim, describing the astronaut as extremely well respected and making many invaluable contributions. Let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, no. Where's that quote? Anyway, I can't find the quote. But there's a quote where I think it's that Bill Nelson guy says something like, she had a health issue that she's been treated for and fully recovered from. Something like that, where it's like, okay. Anyway. So, yeah, like that copy pasta seems to at least have some element of truth to it. Send a bitch in space. She loses her tools. And then drills a hole in the fucking side of the spaceship because she wants and destroys the toilets because she wants to go home. So, anyway, just another example. There's another example of when you try to get your woke politics to work with science, you endanger the lives of everyone around you. Because reality isn't compatible with your psycho delusions. Now, in this case,